God created all this and it works, and if you are in cooperation with how he created it, it works. He didn't create it not to work. Obviously, he wants it to work in relationship with him, but it works. And, I find that people who are seeking for something that works are much more open to discover how it works. Those who've got preconceived ideas of how it works, like they're using a book like the Bible to describe how it works, don't often find the truth of how it works, and ultimately God's at work in everyone to reveal himself. So he doesn't want anyone to suffer. He wants everyone to be in health. We're all his children. So he's designed creation for his children to live in. And there are those who are more in tune with that because they're less religious generally. And religion just stifles all this stuff, And so, yeah, I mean, I've been in talking to people who are ministering, healing to people through sound or whatever, and they don't know God, but they know there's something, and their heart is aligned to God because God wants to heal. And I know they're not leaving a negative deposit because I've talked to them and I've engaged with them and whatever. Now, there are some who may have an ulterior motive who are not seeking to do good. Well, they're not really connected to God, and so ultimately, Jesus, the disciples were saying, well, these people are doing this. It's like, tell them to stop. And Jesus said, well, if they're not against us, they're for us. You see, these people are not against God. They're not against Jesus. And they're doing good things. So why should we think that they're not God at the heart of that? Because if someone has a desire to bring healing to someone, I guarantee that desire is coming from God who's in them. They may not know that it's coming from that light, but that is where the light is, because there is nothing good other than God. Man has no capacity to do good other than God. But God is in all his children, looking to outwork his desire for a relationship in them and through them. So rather than sort of telling those people they're all wrong, let's try and connect them to the reality of the light that they are shining. I find that there's more light in not yet believers, as I would prefer to call them, than believers in a lot of occasion, because believers are so restricted that they don't shine the light, and you can see that light in people, and you can see people who are doing things that were totally in line with love, but they don't know God personally yet. But that's God who is love in them, looking to reveal himself through them. And we just need to connect with that and help people to connect with it and connect to the source of it rather than the impersonal force. Now, a lot of those people have been rejected by traditional religion, and therefore they are negative towards Christianity because churches rejected them. They couldn't fit in. They were told that their spirituality was occult or new age or whatever. And so we need to actually help those people to rediscover that God is actually for them, loves them, and is there, and they can know him personally. And it's so much easier to do that if you can relate to them and not criticize them and tell them that they're wrong, because it can't be wrong to heal. It just can't be wrong to heal. Provided they've not got an ulterior motive. Now, we all got motives, and I'm not saying that they're not getting something out of the healing, which probably gives them validation or, compensates for their own lacks in their lives and all of that mixture of motives. But primarily, God desires to heal. And if someone's willing to lay hands on someone and do Reiki healing or kinesiology or anything else, and it brings healing to a person, I honestly believe that God is using that person to heal, because he can't use Christians to do most of those things because they wouldn't do it. And I do believe all those things are essentially just things that God has put into creation for us to use. Sadly, most Christians have rejected them, and now others have taken on that, but they can't find God in it because of what we've done to put them off. So I wouldn't be concerned about it, but I would be looking to help those people discover the true God behind what they're doing and encourage them, but do it in a way that helps them encounter God, you know, but not the God who's rejected them from their point of view, because the Christian God will have rejected them. So they've rejected him and don't believe in him. Well, we've got to help them get back to believe in the reality of who he is by helping them to see that he's already in them and helping them to experience that. Just like Paul on the Damascus Road has an encounter that God reveals Jesus in him, that Jesus was already at work in him. And we could even point to people and say, the fact that you're motivated to look to heal people is a demonstration that Jesus is already in you, and but you just don't know him. How much better would it be if you really knew him? Because then you would find that motivation would be turbocharged. You know? But instead, we just tell people they're wrong.